there, fellow marketers. Professor Wolters here, and today we're here in Paris. We've got Notre Dame behind us as they're reconstructing it, and today what we're going to talk about is how you evaluate segment attractiveness. Look, when you divide up your market, when you segment your market up into these different groups, you got to figure out which groups do I go for first? Which ones do I target first? Which one do I target second? Which segments do I not target at all? You've got to figure out these things. You've got to rank these things. And so what we're going to go through today are kind of the ways that you figure out segment attractiveness. And the thing is, there's kind of 5 things you want to look at when you look at segment attractiveness. One is identifiable. Can I actually figure out what that segment is? 2, substantial. Is that segment size substantial enough? Is there enough people or enough money in there to make it worthwhile to go after? 3, we look at if it's reachable. Can we actually reach? Can we actually communicate with that segment or not? The 4th thing we look at is responsiveness. Will that segment do what we want them to do? Will they buy our product? Will they sign up for our website? Will they click subscribe now? These kind of things. And the 5th thing we look at is profitable. Will we make money on this, or will we make enough money on this segment to make it worthwhile for us to actually go after them? So the first thing we want to look at is this identifiable. Can we identify the people in this segment? Is there certain characteristics we can have that really separates one segment from another segment? Because if there isn't, there's not really a segment there. We need to expand it out. So we really got to think about what distinguishes each one of these segments. Is it income? Is it, gender? Is it location? I mean, think about it. We're here in Paris, and we want to distinguish between the tourists and the locals, right? So how do we do that? Oh, we can look at in terms of their phones, or maybe we look at their IDs, stuff like that. There's some ways we can actually identify the different groups. So if I was going to take a study abroad group, I might want to say, it's like, look, can I identify a group that wants to come to Paris with me, right? So that would be a group. Who wants to go to Paris? Those that raise their hand, boom, I can identify them. So the second thing we look at in terms of segment attractiveness is actually substantial. Is there a substantial enough people or money in this segment to sustain itself? So is it worth it for us to actually go after these people? Is there enough money to be made there? Is there enough clients we could actually have that could actually set up a segment? And the thing is, we might be looking at current size, but we might also look at growth rates and stuff like that and say, look, this is a good market, but it's not there yet. It's going to grow. Like the middle class in China is growing by leaps and bounds. So right now, maybe it's not what we want, but we know in 5 to 10 years, it's going to be there. Hey, in the future, it's going to be a substantial enough group, so we do want to have a segment for this. Because sometimes when you're doing this attractiveness thing, it's not just about today, it could be about the future as well. But in general, you're looking for a substantial number to make it worth your while. For example, it really wouldn't be worth it to make a Luxembourg series on, learning Luxembourgish, because there's 600,000 people that live in Luxembourg. Only half of them actually speak like Luxembourgish. So maybe it'd be better for me to make English language videos or Spanish language videos, because there's enough people out there around the world that want to learn it, that it would be substantial enough to be worth our time and energy, whereas Luxembourgish, yeah, probably not. Now, the third criteria we have is reachable. Can we actually communicate with that segment? Can I talk to them? Look, I would love for my business videos and my travel videos to be in China. 1.5 billion people. Yes, that is a substantial number of people. But the problem is YouTube doesn't go to China, and so therefore I can't reach them. So that's one of the things you have to think about. If I can't reach the clients, I can't communicate with them, it's like they don't exist. So we have to make sure we can actually reach them. And that's why sometimes if you can't reach them, you can't inform them, no matter how attractive they could be, they're not worth going for because you don't know how to communicate with them. So that's a problem. Now, the 4th thing we want to look at is responsive. So let's say we've identified them, it's a big enough group, and we can actually talk to them, but now we got to see if they're responsive. Will they do what we want them to do? Will they go buy that product? Will they go buy a ticket to go visit Paris? Will they, sign up for a class kind of stuff? Will they actually click the like button right now and say they like this video? These kind of things. And if we see that they're actually not going to do it, well, then we have to realize that this market isn't very attractive, because yes, a lot of people would like to buy a Ferrari, right? I can identify people that like Ferraris. There's a lot of people that like to do it, and I can talk to them, but there's people that are actually going to go out and spend a few $100,000 on a car. No, they're not going to do it. And so that responsive side of it is one thing you have to look at, because look, there's people that may want your product, but they're not going to go out and buy it. They're not going to out and purchase it or whatever. It's not worth going for them. And the 5th thing we have to look at in market attractiveness is profitability. Can we make money off of this segment? And that's why you're looking at market size, market growth rate, stuff like that, purchasing power. We're kind of looking at this to see can we make enough money to justify this? And the thing is, it's not just about the segment itself, like the customers, it's also looking at the competition that's out there. Look, yes, I want to get into the Paris travel market. But the thing is, there's so many travel agencies and there's so many tours that are here that I could never break through. And so that's really going to affect our profitability, because there's a lot of things that affect profitability for a company and a segment. And so we have to factor that in as well to decide if it's worth it for us to go in there. And so what you do is you take these 5 things, you kind of figure out is it worth it or not to really go after a market? And then you're going to rank them. Who should we go after first, second, third, or fourth? And usually the first group you want to go after are the ones that are going to get the most bang from their buck of spending with you, because they're going to be the most happy with your products, with your services. They're going to champion your product to help sell it to more people. So make sure you're checking out that too, because that might not be the biggest segment, but it could be the best one for your long-term future. Anyway, I hope this helps you out to know a little bit better about how you evaluate segment attractiveness. If you want to learn more about business or marketing or YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We put out new business videos every week. And I'll say au revoir from here in Paris.